What's up, YouTube? I'm the Villain Nerd, and the other day I made a video about Disney and how they need to really step up their game and do better. And then they announced this big news at San Diego Comic-Con that RDJ is Doctor Doom, and that's crazy. And of course, the internet has blown up, it has exploded, and I'm going to do the same. I'm going to also still talk about this. I know I'm like a week late. I don't care. I want to talk about that, so that's what I'm going to do, and I do feel like I have some unique thoughts. Now, the first thing I will say is that I had much the same reaction as everyone else. When I first heard it, I was very confused, but then it kind of made sense, and then yeah, got very excited, and I am absolutely stoked. I think this is a master play. I love the fact that RDJ is back. I couldn't be happier, so let's get into it. Now, there is reason for pause. Number one, I am sad that there isn't going to be a new actor that gets to play the role, that gets to have an opportunity to grow their own resume and build up their career, but I don't really care. Number two, I am sad that this Doctor Doom won't have a lot of staying power. And number three, I'm sad that we will probably still won't get a comic accurate version of Doctor Doom. Now, let me explain all of these in a little bit more depth. With number two, I'm honestly not worried that he'll only appear in two movies because he'll probably make a cameo or two in other films. But truth be told, that is all that Thanos had. Like, I know it felt like Thanos was this big looming threat because he first appeared at the end of Avengers 1. But that's really just it, is he only appeared in Avengers 1, Guardians of the Galaxy 1, and at the end of Avengers 2, before he had two movie appearances in Infinity War and Endgame, and then nothing else. Like, he was really only a character for two movies. So do I think RDJ's Doctor Doom can make the same impression as Thanos? Absolutely. I think he can do even better because it's RDJ, you know? Now, don't get me wrong, Thanos and Josh Brolin was perfect and stuff, but still, I just think he can do just as good. And as to number three and not getting a comic accurate version of this character, we honestly could still get Victor Von Doom, even though it is still Robert Downey Jr., who looks a lot like the Iron Man of these universes and stuff. The thing is that Doctor Doom's face is incredibly scarred, and he keeps it hidden behind a mask 90% of the time. So could they just be using RDJ as a voice? 100%. And when he takes off the mask, you'll just see a bunch of prosthetics, a bunch of really good makeup to cover up the fact that it looks exactly like Iron Man. Do I think that's what they're going to do? Probably not, but it is still possible. It's still within the realm of possibilities. However, I do think that it makes more sense that this is going to be a variant of Iron Man. I mean, why else bring back Robert Downey Jr.? It just makes sense that this is going to be a variant of Iron Man. And I really like that because, you know, Iron Man struggled with that line of being a hero versus being a villain. We have that famous scene of,
I see a suit of armor around the world.
and that could kind of be his motivation. That could be his breaking point. Or alternatively, this could be a Tony Stark that grew up in Latveria, saw hardships he never wants to see again, and believes that his technology and his knowledge and his superior intellect could improve the lives of everyone, not just Latveria, his own country. I don't know how they're going to make it work. I don't really care. The point is, I do think that's where they're going. And honestly, it just makes sense because despite the multiverse saga being this whole convoluted big mess, it makes sense that the big bad is going to be a direct byproduct of that mess. Think about it. In the first three phases, we called it the Infinity Saga, and every single Avengers movie was an Infinity Stone themed problem. You know, Avengers 1, Loki had the Space Stone and used that to devastating effect. Avengers 2, as a direct result of meddling with the Mind Stone, Ultron was created and we had this big problem. And then we had Infinity War and Endgame, and I don't need to go into that. So with the multiverse saga, you need to have a multiverse threat. So if you were just to make this Doctor Doom who just happens to discover the multiverse and think, ooh, cool, shiny, that would not be as satisfying as an Iron Man variant. A character that most of the universe sees as a hero is now turned villain, and he is going to be the biggest problem. Think about the struggle that's going to be a part of so many characters when fighting him, because they'll know that that's Iron Man underneath that. That's their friend underneath that, except that it's not. It's a different version of him. And I think that'll be very fascinating and create some rather entertaining drama and action. And with this being the multiverse saga, I think that Marvel had the right idea with Kang being the big bad. He is a multiversal threat. He is a being that exists because there is a multiverse. The Council of Kangs being this evil group only works because there are multiple universes in which Kang exists, Kang the Conqueror. And I love that. But unfortunately, despite the fact that there was controversy surrounding the main actor, Jonathan Majors, the real thing is that Kang was not resonating with the MCU fanbase, even before that controversy started. He just wasn't as big of a threat. We just didn't take him seriously. Part of that's because he appeared as the villain in Ant-Man Quantumania and was, beaten. But that's beside the point. The point is, I think pivoting away from Kang makes a bunch of sense. Going with Doctor Doom, you now have an opportunity to set up a new villain who's going to be even more evil, even more menacing, even more powerful, and I think that will work so well, especially with Robert Downey Jr. behind that. So here's where we enter the theory crafting a bit, because there's a lot of fun things that you could do with Doctor Doom. First and foremost, I think one of the smartest things that Marvel could do is have Doctor Doom kill off Kang the Conqueror. We see this Council of Kangs at the end of Quantumania, so let's just connect that. Let's see them meeting again. Doctor Doom comes onto the scene. He kills all of them. He shows off his power. He shows that he's more powerful than these guys. Boom, you've now established him as a really cool villain, and you've addressed Kang. You don't just pretend as if Kang didn't exist. No, he did exist. Doctor Doom was just more powerful. And you could even have a tongue-in-cheek comment about how we're no longer going to go with you guys, or something goofy like that, where it's just he's winking at the audience saying, yeah, we're done with Kang. I'm the new big bad. And I think that would totally work, and I think Robert Downey Jr. has the charisma to pull off a line like that. But another fun thing that I think would be really cool with Doctor Doom would be if they made him from Earth 838. Specifically. Now, if you don't know, Earth 838 is the universe that Doctor Strange went to in Doctor Strange 2 with America Chavez and stuff. And in that, he met the Illuminati, and most of them died. Now, notably, Iron Man was missing from the Illuminati, and in the comics, he's usually a big part of the Illuminati. So this obviously was a direct result of Robert Downey Jr. not being available and then not wanting to recast anyone as Iron Man. But this opens up an interesting opportunity, because it could be that Iron Man wasn't a part of the Illuminati, not because of background things, but because he was actually Doctor Doom. He was a variant that turned into Doctor Doom. Maybe he was once their friend, that's now Doctor Doom. And now that not only is the Illuminati mostly dead, but also Reed Richards specifically is dead, Doctor Doom's greatest nemesis. John Krasinski's Mr. Fantastic is gone. So now this Doctor Doom could see this as his window of opportunity, his opportunity to take over the world, to take over the multiverse. Maybe he feels threatened because this multiverse threat, i.e. Scarlet Witch, killed a bunch of superheroes and showed off to be very powerful, and he doesn't want that to happen to anyone else. So he's going to say, I'm going to take matters into my own hand. I'm going to take over the multiverse so that never happens ever again. That could work so well, and that would be so exciting and such a fun way to connect to previous movies, even though it definitely would be a retcon, but it would make it feel more connected, which is desperately needed in this convoluted multiverse saga. And one last thing that I see as a possibility that no one is talking about is that Iron Man can return. Now, obviously, I would want this to be a variant and not the main version that died killing Thanos, but everyone is so focused on Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doctor Doom that they don't realize that also means that he could come back as Iron Man in these movies. There is no reason that he couldn't take off the green and silver armor for a second and put on the red and gold. None whatsoever. And how cool would that be to see some variants of Iron Man? Or even Iron Man versus Doctor Doom. I think Robert Downey Jr. has the acting chops to play off himself, but yeah. Now, to be fair, I do think that his focus is going to be on Doctor Doom. I do think that Robert Downey Jr. is going to do that. But there is a possibility here, there is a path forward here, where Iron Man could show up for a scene or two. He could be an important part of Secret Wars, of Doomsday, and that excites me a bunch. So I am very excited for the possibilities of Doctor Doom and RDJ, and it gets me excited, which is exactly what Marvel needed, and I'm so happy that I got to hear this announcement. I'm so looking forward now to Avengers 5 and 6. It'll be great. My only real regret is that the Fantastic Four are finally getting their due. We're going to have a good, proper Fantastic Four movie, and they might not get to face off that much against Doctor Doom. Now, don't get me wrong, they will absolutely feature in Avengers 5 and 6, and they will absolutely fight Doctor Doom, and they might even give Pedro Pascal the star role and the being the key to defeating Doctor Doom. I think that would be so good and so make a lot of sense and be really, really good. But it is unfortunate because I do not think RDJ is going to continue past Secret Wars. I think Doctor Doom will be defeated and Robert Downey Jr. will step back and step away. But the Fantastic Four will probably continue after that, in which case they won't get to fight Doctor Doom ever again. Now, it's not the saddest thing in the world, like I said. Having 2 movies is absolutely enough time to set up a very compelling villain. And furthermore, again, if they make the Fantastic Four be the key to defeating Doctor Doom, it absolutely will feel right and feel deserved and feel earned. And then you can move on to other villains of the Fantastic Four. It's just sad that we aren't going to get that, further down the line. But that's not entirely out of the realm of possibility because, again, this is a multiverse, so it's absolutely possible that you're going to introduce a more comic accurate version of Doctor Doom, assuming they go with the Iron Man variant of Doctor Doom for Robert Downey Jr.'s version. But you could introduce another version that continues with the main story going forward. I don't know for sure. We're just speculating. We're just theory crafting. But either way, I'm excited. I'm just a little sad about that. Now, stepping back for a minute, I do want to close by reading between the lines a little bit more. First and foremost, what we haven't talked about and what a lot of people have ignored is the fact that the Russo brothers are back. Now, I know the news leaked a few days early, so that's when most of the people talked about it, but I don't care. I haven't talked about it. I haven't heard that much about it. And I am absolutely stoked for the Russo brothers to be back. They were the 2 directors that directed 4 of my all-time favorite MCU films. Those MCU films rank in my top 5. Well, top 7, if not my top 5. And I'm so happy they're going to be back. I have absolute faith that they're going to direct really good movies. Same thing with Robert Downey Jr. Even though this does scream an act of desperation from Marvel, it definitely feels like they know they're in the wrong. They know they need to course correct. So they cast Robert Downey Jr. so they can get the internet talking and get people excited again, which it's working, I will 100% say. To be clear, though, I do think that there's more to it than just that. And I do believe that Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU is more than just a paycheck. I 100% believe that when they went to the Russo brothers came up with this idea of Iron Man variant Doctor Doom. It's happened in the comics before. It makes a lot of sense. And they said, let's go talk to Robert Downey Jr. And they talked with him and they pitched him this beautiful idea. They said, you're going to be the villain. They said, you're going to fight this guy, this guy, this guy. You're going to have some cool action scenes. They said, hey, you're going to get to have this cool acting scene. You're going to get to have this cool moment. And they probably mapped it out. I do not believe they did anything short of explicitly explaining this is what you're going to be doing. Maybe they didn't have every last scene and every last, I don't think they had the script written or anything, but I do think they have the character of Doctor Doom very well mapped out in order to convince Robert Downey Jr. that this would be a good experience and this would be fun and that he could do this and do a good job and all that stuff. So I absolutely believe that this can be great. And with Robert Downey Jr., let's be clear. He just won an Oscar. He could go to virtually any movie project and anyone would be happy to have him, except maybe Martin Scorsese. But that's another story for another day. The point is, he could do anything. So the fact that he's choosing to come back, well, that to me just feels like there must be a really good story. Yes, it's probably for the money a little bit. Yes, it's probably because he, maybe he has a little bit of an ego and wants to save the MCU yet again. I don't know. I don't care. The point is, I'm excited. I'm hopeful, and I think the big thing that the big note that I want to end on is the fact that I hope Marvel doesn't waste this opportunity, because at this point, as it stands, I think Marvel is going to have a really good 2 movies in Avengers 5 and 6, potentially even more with Fantastic Four being there and some other things and stuff. But the point is, you're going to have 2 really good movies directed by 2 really good directors, and you're going to have a Robert Downey Jr. to carry those films. And so I absolutely believe you're going to make a lot of money from these 2 movies, and you're going to be able to reset your universe, do a soft reboot, and all of that stuff. So what do you do moving forward? And I just really hope that, unlike Phase 4 and 5, they have a plan moving forward. They have a set path of, this is how we're going to tell the next saga. Maybe it's the Mutant Saga. Maybe it's another idea. I don't know. But let's say it is the Mutant Saga. Please, 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 Marvel, have a plan forward. Have an idea of, these are the X-Men movies we're going to tell. We're going to have some team-up X-Men movies that are going to be Avengers-level events. We're going to have some We're going to have some solo X-Men movies, maybe like a Cyclops movie, maybe a Gambit movie. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Don't care. The point is, please map it out. Please have a plan from point A to point B so that we can have another good saga, just like the Infinity War. And I know Infinity War wasn't mapped out nearly as well as they'd like you to believe, but that doesn't matter. The point is, you have a chance now to map that out. You have a chance to plan ahead. Don't squander it. And if you don't, then there's a real good chance that the MCU could continue to be amazing going forward. But that's just my idea, and that's just my thoughts. So who knows? Let's see where this goes.